Hello, 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 everyone. How are things going? Hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo. Just give me a second. Hey, yo, everyone. Please let me know whether you can see me, whether you can hear me in the chat. Just let me know. Is everything okay with my what? Okay, yeah, see. Okay, all good, all good, all good. Okay, awesome. We're gonna wait for just one more minute and we're gonna start. I do really want to keep it sharp under 1 hour as it's planned. And usually whenever I make really long webinars, a lot of people say, thanks all for the information, for such a great content, but it was too long. It was way more than we expected. That is why this time I will really try to focus on sharing all the information in under just 1 hour. So let's start. I'm gonna share my screen right now. Please let me know whether you can see my screen right now. No, just doesn't feel like yeah. No, just a second. Can you see my screen right now? Just let me know in the chat. Yes. Okay. Awesome. 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 So today we gonna cover a really important topic about building anti-fragile called email infrastructure. And before we actually start, I just want to ask you one simple question. It's who you are in how actually where are you right now? So please just let me know in the chat. Where are you based right now? Say London, New York, India, Australia, whatever. Okay, yeah, London, New York City. Oh my God, I was actually, okay, from India, Lisbon. Oh my God, so awesome. Philippines, India, Ukraine, UK. Oh my God. Hey, yo, everyone. And yeah, Kharkiv. Oh, I'm actually originally from Kharkiv. Germany. Oh my God, awesome, awesome, awesome. So let's start. Why I decided to start this year with such an important webinar is just basically because I see a really huge trend and a lot of problems and challenges, specifically when it comes to the cold email deliverability. And that's why I decided to start doing the webinar and try to share with you a really practical advice and the framework on how you can build a proper system and engine to send cold emails with minimal risks. So before we actually start, just quickly about myself. So my name is Ilya. I was working at Lemlist, Expandy, and I'm in this market for quite a long time. And now I'm a co-founder of Growthband together with Max. We are helping SaaS businesses with their go-to-market strategy and go-to-market motion. We also help B2B brands by leveling up their in-house outbound lead generation with the strategy called email infrastructure, automation, and so on and so forth. And we also educate people with SaaS growth hacks, marketing strategy, outbound lead generation. I hope you know me. If not, hey everyone, here is my LinkedIn profile. Let's connect. By the way, if you are not connected, please let's connect on LinkedIn. But also one more thing, while I'm talking and while I'm sharing the information about the cold email deliverability, please just feel free to share your own LinkedIn profiles. So let's connect to each other. Let's just make some networking out of this webinar. So, okay, yeah, I see that we are already connected. But anyway, you can connect with each other. So just feel free to share your own LinkedIn profiles. So let's start. And we've prepared really cool thing for you. So please wait till the end. During the last 4 weeks, I had 58 calls with B2B founders and head of sales. In the majority of cases, I noticed that almost all of them actually wanted to talk to me to understand how they can implement buyer signals and triggers using new AI cool tools, how they can actually work on AI personalization, to make it make AI and implement AI and personalization on scale. And a lot of people actually wanted to implement Clay, even for some basic things, not even for the advancing things. And it's all great, no questions there. But once I started digging deeper into their specific case, I noticed that they're missing actually two main things. The first one, a really fundamental understanding of who their ICP, what are the hypotheses that they need to test, and how to work overall with the outbound lead generation channel and on the strategic level. But that was one thing. But even if they had that understanding, there was a second one, the second biggest problem. It's their cold email deliverability. Actually, nobody was quite sure about whether their emails are going to spam or not. They were all worried about all of those things. Okay, what's going on with our deliverability? We don't know. They actually try to believe that all the work that they're doing in terms of personalization and implementation of AI, that's and those things are actually will bring the results for them. But at the end of the day, if your deliverability is not perfect, all of those fancy, new, shiny, amazing things like personalization, like Clay, like new AI things, they just don't make any sense. There is no difference in your amazing email and really bad email with a bad targeting if both of them are going to spam. That is why today we'll try to focus on building a proper cold email infrastructure. And why we say it anti-fragile, because cold email deliverability, it is the most fragile part of the whole outbound lead generation as the channel. So let's start. I would really like to go through this topic quickly, but if I cannot touch some of the points, I will share with you some dedicated materials after the webinar as a recording or as the Notion file, as a few guides, etc., etc. So I will try to cover everything, but if I cannot, I will just share with you some extra materials. Okay, so the current situation is pretty simple. Open rates are low. We even don't know what are the open rates right now. The new domains and mailboxes are usually trapped by spam extremely quickly. Warm up just doesn't really work. It just doesn't matter whether we use warm up or we don't use warm up, the results are pretty much the same. We are not quite sure what is going on with our deliverability. Okay, open rate decreases in 3 to 4 weeks, or probably not even open rates, since we right now don't really track it. But if you track, you might see this dynamic. But if you don't track, you might see the dynamic with your reply rates. And email providers like Google and Microsoft are evolving and fighting against cold emailing more and more. On top of that, right now, we even cannot track the open rates because as you know, 5-6 months ago, Google changed their policy of working with the pixels in the cold emails that people are sending. And now, whenever you try to track cold emails, they by default are marked more like a spam. So it's more risky to send it, no matter whether you are using some workarounds or workaround solutions or not. It's better not to track cold emailing open rates. So, okay, the situation's pretty tough. We need to send cold emails to generate leads, but it's becoming harder and harder and even more challenging every single day to send those cold emails. Okay, we're in a really bad situation. What should we do right now? Okay, so I see a lot of people are talking in the chat. So okay, if you have any questions, please ask me in the Q&A because I might miss that. Okay, so how let's start from the very beginning. How emails become spam? There are actually three main factors. The first one, email providers just don't trust you. Okay. The second one, you act as a spammer. We are not all like amazing people, just the best people on this planet. That is why sometimes we might act as spammers. And the third thing, people mark your emails as spam. And usually like the first 2 points are actually fully under your control. You make email providers trust or just don't trust. You work on, you either act as a spammer or you don't. And there is also partially you affect, like you impact and you control the fact that people mark your emails as spam. But okay, this third thing is more about your targeting and messaging. And today we are not going to touch that point. Of course, if you're a spammer, all of those things that I will share with you are going to help you, but not dramatically. You're still not going to generate any predictable revenue out of this channel. That is why, by default, I tell you that today's content is all about is great actually for people who are not spammers by default. So, okay, boom, boom, boom. So let's start. We are not going to touch any basic things today, such as like never send cold email through the free Gmail accounts that you just created. Never use aliases. Don't try to go budget savvy and go cheap and then send emails with the lowest cost. Never send too many emails, like 500 emails from one mailbox or 300 emails from one mailbox. No, just don't go crazy. Never use the wrong tool set for cold emailing. And when I'm talking about the wrong tool set, usually I mean never send cold emails through the tools like HubSpot. I'm not even talking like tools like MailChimp or SMTP providers like SendGrid or all those things. Never send cold emails from those platforms, of course, but also never send cold emails from the platforms that were designed for cold emailing back in the days, but were not really updated to the current state of the cold emailing, such as HubSpot, sales cadences, and so on and so forth. That is why just try to avoid those tools as well. And all those basic things, we are not going to touch them. That is why I would create, like for example, Apollo.io. This is not the greatest tool to send cold emails. In the whole metrics of the best tools, Apollo.io for sending cold emails, not for finding information, but for sending cold emails, is actually really bad. Okay, so and I don't really want to touch and dive deeper into those things. Just either tell me, but like just believe me, or just believe me, or you don't. If I have time, I will explain you in more details. Why is it so? So when it comes to those basic things, I've created the checklist, so you can go through this checklist and set up everything there. And just go there, okay? I'm gonna send it to you after this webinar. Please just check your email inbox. I will send you the checklist where we're gonna cover the how to use mailboxes, the rotation, proper average, all those things. This is just a quick information from the webinar. Plus, if you want, I see a lot of questions right now. If you want, I'm gonna add the information about the best tool set that you should be using or should avoid when it comes to sending cold emails, like using email as email outreach tools. Okay, so what affects spam rate? Basically 5 things. The first one, technical domain setup. We need to make sure that we set up everything correctly. The second one, email outreach setup. It's also extremely important. The third thing is called email content. Yes, today we are not going to touch the copywriting and the messaging itself, but today we'll at least try to touch some basic rules for your deliverability. The fourth thing is the bounce rate. Of course, we have to avoid email addresses that just don't exist. That's just a basic thing as well. And the fifth thing is the recipient's behavior. We're gonna try to do several things today. We'll try to build the proper infrastructure to send cold emails, including mailboxes, domains, a proper technical setup. The second one will try to use and choose a better email outreach tool and set it up correctly. We'll also work on the content and how to do the rotation of the content. We're gonna talk about how to mitigate risks with bounce rate, and we're gonna talk about the monitoring. So there are things that affect spam rate, but we're gonna talk about how to work with those things. So the proper infrastructure includes, consists of 6 main things. Clear, those are of course, there are way more things, way more details and nuances, but if we just try to sum it up to the main things, here are those. The first one, it's a clear domain mailbox ratio, and we need to have enough domains and mailboxes to send cold emails. We need to have a proper DNS set. We need to use smart warm-up strategy. When I'm saying smart warm-up strategy, I'm saying just different from what you have right now, like in 90% of cases. The correct cold email outreach setup, it's so important. Ongoing deliverability monitoring, because since the cold, right now, we cannot track open rates, we have to find out what are the indirect methods of our deliverability. Before that, we had a direct method, our open rate. And if our open rate dramatically changed and went down, we saw the drop, then we could work with that. Like, we understood that there are some problems with our deliverability. Right now, we have to use extra tools and extra methods to figure out whether our emails are going to spam or not without the open rate. And of course, deliverability fix, how we're going to recover our deliverability and how to do a proper rotation of the mailboxes. That is the basic thing. Those are the things that we're going to talk today. But let's start with the very first question. How many cold emails should I send? And of course, a lot of people just think about what is the bandwidth that I might have. Like, I need to send, 1,000 emails per day, or whatever, 5,000 cold emails per day, or 100 cold emails per day, and so on and so forth. But this is a wrong mindset. We don't need to think about our bandwidth, because this is the thing that we almost fully control. And if we build an anti-fragile cold email infrastructure in-house, we don't even have the problem with the amount of cold emails to send. But we actually need to think in the opposite way, not from the perspective of the amount of emails that we should send, but more, how many leads should I generate during a specific period of time? And after that, once we have this mindset, once we start thinking from the opposite, from the very last conversion that we have, the amount of leads that we generate, and start understanding our conversions, or using the benchmarks to understand how many replies, okay, how many leads do we need to get? It's fine. Then how many replies should we get? Then how many contacts should we reach out to? How many emails should we send? And then it means how many mailboxes should we create? So in this case, for example, if you need 30 marketing qualified leads, it means, like in your case, for example, that's your case, with 10% conversion rate, that means you need to get 300 replies. 300 replies, that means usually 4,285 people who open the emails. That means around 6,600 people who you reached out to. And that means that overall, like, those are the conversions. You either can use them or use your own benchmarks, your in-house benchmarks. But at the end of the day, you can always multiply. So if you don't have any historical data, as I see right now, people are asking the chat, it's fine. You can use some benchmarks from the from what I'm sharing with you, or just use the simple benchmarks, let's say it like this. Of course, during some time, you will figure out what would be your numbers that you can apply, considering your target audience, considering your offering, considering your messaging, considering your funnel. But at the very beginning, it's at least, you have to use at least some metrics and benchmarks. This is why let's use even our benchmarks. Or if you need some help, you could always reach out to me on LinkedIn and just ask me this question and share a bit more about your specific audience, okay? And I will share with you probably, I know some benchmark there. So, and at that point of time, you already understand how many people you need to reach out to. Then you clearly understand how many emails should you send. And of course, after that, we can understand how many mailboxes should we create. So by default, when we say we need to send 26,000 cold emails per month, that means that we need to create that one mailbox. If we consider that's 22 days, during 22 working days, we're going to send 30 emails per day. And that means for us that we need to create 40 mailboxes to generate 30 marketing qualified leads. And 40 mailboxes divided by 4 mailboxes per each domain, that means for us 10 domains. Boom, that's done. But why we are going in this direction, while we are trying to scale the amount of cold emails horizontally and not vertically, why we don't say that to generate 30 marketing qualified leads, considering our internal benchmarks, we need to send 26,000 cold emails, and we're going to use only one mailbox that is going to send that amount of 1,000 cold emails per day from one mailbox. That is, of course, the extremely. I'm joking about those numbers, but why we are not going vertically? Why we are not trying to scale the amount of emails that every single mailbox is going to send? Because it's way risky. Back in the days, during 1 minute, I will explain you how this whole whole outbound world changed during the last few years. Actually, back in the days, every single cold email outreach tool charged you for each mailbox you add to the system. That is why back in the days, it was really hard to scale horizontally, because whenever you add a new mailbox to send cold emails, email outreach tool charged you more money. And the whole outbound outreach campaign on the channel were not that effective, cost effective. And then everyone tried, and then the whole world was changed when Instantly and Smartly came to the market and changed the business model. So they now told, add as many mailboxes as you want. We're going to charge you based on the amount of contacts you want to reach out to, and not the amount of mailboxes that you have. And that led us to the situation when we can add extra mailboxes to send more emails, and we don't really need to care about the quality of those mailboxes to try to increase by 5% the bandwidth, the volume that we can send from each of the mailboxes. Because for us, to send 200 emails, it's way easier to create 10 mailboxes and send 20 emails per each mailbox rather than one mailbox that is going to send 200 emails per day. And even from the risk perspective and risk management perspective, if something wrong happens with that one mailbox, if someone tells us, hey, you're a spammer, I didn't really like this email, hey, I'm in a bad mood, and someone mark you as spam, you're gonna lose all your bandwidth by just using one mailbox. That is why, yes, sometimes you can try to go vertically and scale the amount of emails you send from each mailbox. But it's way better to go and scale horizontally, because from the risk management perspective in the call outbound, it's way more, it makes more sense. Okay. And I will send you the link to the recording and the presentation and everything. So I hope that you understand me. And I'll also send you the guide that I'm writing right now about building the cold email infrastructure. So how now we understand how many emails we need to create and how many mailboxes, how many emails should we send. We understand how many mailboxes should we create and how many domains should we create. Okay, We always start with domains. We never use our own main domain for sending cold emails. Why? Because again, if something happens, we're gonna lose the trust to our main domain. That is why we always use our backup domains that we create specifically for cold emailing. We set up the redirect from this domain to our main domain, but we never use the main domain. Okay. So when it comes to creating domains, there are a few things. The first one, even new domains that are 1, 2, 3 months young or old, they're actually pretty much the same in terms of quality and deliverability, right? As domains that were on this market for 2 to 3 years. That is why it is fine to buy new domains and we just wait a few months. The second one, what type of domains should you buy? The best type of domains that you can buy for cold emailing, it is local domains. For example, if you're reaching out the French market, it is way better to use .fr as your main domain, something like your domain name, .fr, for cold emailing, specifically the French market. Or if you are reaching out specifically to Canadian market, it is way better to use .ca and not .com. Even though .com looks like the best type of the domain, the local domains are always way better for cold emailing, and the statistics shows us that based on 50 million emails that were sent, we saw the pattern, and our friends from reply.io saw the pattern that the local domains are always better. But the second question is, if you don't have the local market, if you're not targeting specific local markets, but we just try to target the whole Europe, for example, in that case, just go with well-established domains such as .com, .ai, .io, .co. But never go with cheap domains like .xyz, .digital, something, those type of things never cheap domains. So you either go with local domains, the best case, or go with well-established, well-known type of domains such as .ai, .com, .io. Okay, the next question is, now we have domains. Now our question is, should we create the mailboxes with Google or with Microsoft or with just dedicated SMTP? And the real answer is, you have to have mailboxes on every single platform. This is one of the main principles of building anti-fragile cold email infrastructure. It is having great mailboxes on Google, on Microsoft, and with a dedicated SMTP, with dedicated IP addresses on the servers. 3 types of the email mailboxes that you can use to send cold emails. But the real question is, what should be the reason for that is those systems have different deliverability rate from sending to getting. For example, when you have the Google account and you're sending it to Microsoft, your deliverability rate is going to be worse compared to when you're sending cold emails from Microsoft to Microsoft, and so on and so forth. So the thing is that those are the main principle. The reason for that principle is Google, for example, Google knows way more about yourself when you're sending from Google. That means that they know that even if you're using a shareable IP and this IP equals to spam or means spammer, Google knows that you are not that spammer from this shared IP address. You're a different person. That is why even the shared IP address will not really affect on your deliverability rate when you're sending from Google to Google. But if you're sending from Google to Microsoft, you are more like a no-name, an anonymous person, for Microsoft. So again and again, so it's way better to send from Google to Google and from Microsoft to Microsoft, okay? Because in this case, the deliverability rate is going to be better. The question is, what should be the proportion of the email mailboxes that you're creating on Google, on Microsoft, and on SMTP with dedicated IP addresses? The answer is, I don't want to guess. I do really want to calculate this. So the calculation is the next. The very first thing, we just go and take the example of the contact list that we're gonna reach out to. And for example, we're gonna have 1,000 people that we want to reach out to. We take it from Apollo or whatever tool you're using. We uploaded all this list to MX tool, MX toolbar, and then by using bulk lookup tool, we're gonna check based on the domains that you uploaded, what is the ESP provider that those domains are using primarily. And at the end, we're gonna take you, I don't know, 2-3 minutes. You're gonna have the list of the domains that you uploaded and a clear understanding whether they're using Microsoft or Google or any other type of the ESP providers. So you understand that you uploaded 1,000 contacts, and at the end of the day, you see that Microsoft, like 30% of them are using Microsoft and the rest are using Google. In this case, use the same proportion to create your own mailboxes as a part of your infrastructure. So for example, you remember we have to create 40 mailboxes, right, to send cold emails. That means with such a proportion, we need to have 28 domains, 28 mailboxes on Google and 12 mailboxes on Microsoft. That means we have to create 7 domains with Google mailboxes and 3 domains with Microsoft mailboxes. As you remember, we have 40 mailboxes, 10 domains. This is the proportion here. We're going to use similar proportion. And then in our cold email outreach tool, we're going to use the provider matching feature in order to send from Google to Google and from Microsoft to Microsoft. Yes, there is one more hidden question, the elephant in the room. What should you do if both Google and Microsoft are actually not, what if it's not enough to have in Google and Microsoft? There is an answer with having a SMTP type of the mailboxes with dedicated IP addresses. But since this specific topic takes so many nuances about how to properly warm it up, what are the actual limits for those type of the mailboxes, and so on and so forth, I will gonna tell you that, and I guess, yeah. So, yeah, just give me a second, sorry. And at the end of the day, I do, like, there are so many nuances, and if you want, just feel free to reach out to me. I will explain you more about setting up a proper SMTP, SMTP mailboxes and how to do this properly, okay? So the next thing is a few important things. Always fully independent workspaces, 3-4 workspaces of one phone number, no aliases, okay? Then we're gonna, okay, whenever we need to create the mailbox, the question is what type of the tools we should use. There are 2 types of the solutions here. The first one, we can buy mailboxes from Google or Microsoft directly. Okay, we're not touching the SMTP, dedicated SMTP with dedicated IP addresses, okay? That is a different topic. We have to have those type of the mailboxes, but it's just totally a lot of questions there, okay? And a lot of technical details there. Okay, the question is, what type of solution should I use? Should I use the third-party tools like Mailbox resellers, or should I buy directly from Google and Microsoft? Basically, the risks that we have whenever we try to buy the tools, buy mailboxes through the resellers. The very first one, we can buy Google for Education. Google created way cheaper mailboxes, but they're not supposed to be used for called the mailing. That is why if you're gonna buy those type of mailboxes, you're gonna be marked as a spammer right away, no matter what type of setup we're gonna have and so on and so forth. The second one, cheap mailboxes from specific locations. If you're in the US and trying to reach out to the US market and you're gonna buy from not great, not trustful resellers, you might buy really low quality mailboxes that were made, for example, for specific locations, and Google will ban those mailboxes right away pretty quickly. And the third thing, low quality providers behind the scene. Those are really usual situations when you are buying mailboxes through resellers. The pros and cons are like, it's always way better. There are some solutions where you can actually buy infrastructure as a service. And in the majority of cases, those are not the best things to go with, because you are never quite sure what is the quality of the mailboxes that you're going to use, and those people are going to buy for you. That is why be really careful about those things. If we're talking about connecting and setting up your own infrastructure or asking other providers to do that, I would really always try to build your own cold email infrastructure that is not connected directly and that is not relied on only one product. Okay, so always try to build your own infrastructure rather than try to build it on top of some tools. Okay, when it comes to the mailboxes that you can buy, I would probably recommend you use the tool called Zapmail, where you can buy domains and mailboxes cheaper, especially mailboxes cheaper. They are official Google Workspace reseller, and you're actually buying great quality Google mailboxes, but for a cheaper price, for almost reseller price. Yes, they do have the margins there, definitely, but very low margins. Okay, so sorry, just give me a second. Yeah, so I'll go with Zapmail. If you want, I'm gonna send you all the links, so no worries about all of those. The next thing, okay, you do have domains. You know what type of domains to create. Then the next question is, now you do have the mailboxes. You bought those mailboxes either directly from Google or from Microsoft, or using Zapmail, or using any other tools. Okay, it's better not to use any other tools for those type of things. Now the question is, how to create and set up it correctly. There are actually a few things that you need to follow. SPF, DKIM, DMARC. Those things that you already know, right? I'm not going to I'm not going to dive deeper into those things. And of course, you do the redirect from this domain to your main domain. But I'm gonna try to talk about the DMARC specifics. So DMARC is the way for the ESP provider to understand what to do in the case you're reaching out in case you are reaching out to like what to do in different cases when you are sending emails. And the right way to set it up, if this set it up first, make it P equals none. So none of the actions are going to be made. And in this case, keep it for a month and monitor and track your the percentage of the authentications. And if 100% authentications, if everything was great with your deliverability, then you can change it to DMARC equals to reject or quarantine. There are lots of different cases in this and tweaks in this specific topic, but I would recommend you to check and validate your DNS record and specifically DMARC record every single week. Check the amount of the authentications. If it's 100%, keep it none. If it's, if it's 100%, keep it reject or quarantine. If it's less, keep it none. Okay. Here are the tools that you can use for DMARC monitoring. And I have a question to you. I see that, okay, we do still have a lot of people here. Just a quick question, and just a quick question in the poll. How do you enjoy the content? Just let me know. Boop, boop. Just let me know. Do you like it? Whether it's okay, bad, nothing special. Just let me know. I don't really want to get your feedback on that. Okay. Yeah, of course we just started, but still, I have too much content actually. Um, okay. So while you're answering, I want to ask you one more question. I want to ask you one more question. Would you like to build the anti-fragile code infrastructure for your brand? And let me use this question. Just tell me yes or no. I'm just sharing the poll, like the new poll. Just tell me yes or no. If you're great, it's great. I'm not going to share something really cool with you. But if you want to, just let me know, okay? And I see that, okay, 1% said, okay, you're you're all good with your code infrastructure, but 99% said, no, you would like to do that. In this case, I would suggest you, like, actually two options. Yeah, so just tell me yes or no in the poll. Yes, I see. So right now there are two options. The first one, I am going to prepare like the recording and send you the deck. And even if I cannot cover every single point of this deck, I'm going to have the article, great article, all good. You will be able to theoretically to do this on your own. Probably not perfectly, but still. But there is a second option. Starting this year, we started, like, we understood that there are so many people who actually need help with building a proper cold email infrastructure. That is why we unlocked this and we started doing this servers. So basically, right now, here's the link to the forum. If you would like us, like Gross Band, to come to your B2B brand and help you, make the audit to understand what is going on with your deliverability right now. B, build and implement a proper, scalable, anti-fragile cold email infrastructure, including all the nuances, so you can send thousands of cold emails with minimal risks. And the third point, make sure that your team knows how to work and how to operate with Engine. So we really, our final product is not giving you the keys to the product, to the infrastructure, but making sure your team is actually enabled and onboarded on how to work with this cold email infrastructure and what to do in every single case. So what to do if those emails are going to spam, what if you have these results, what are those metrics, what are the type of monitorings, and so on and so forth, you have to implement. So the final result of this service is actually you got a fully operated, fully cold email infrastructure that we set up for you for your specific needs, considering the amount of cold emails that you need to send, and onboard your team on how to do those things. If you would like us to talk about those things, please fill out the form. When I started making this webinar, we actually didn't really launch this service. But during the last few weeks, we had so many calls. That is why, to be frankly honest, we are going to fill our pipeline just during the next few days. And after that, I'm not for sure the amount of people who and the amount of projects that we're going to have. So if you need this, feel free to reach out to submit the form, and I'm going to talk to you about your specific case directly with you, and we're going to reach out to you. Again, one more time, here is the link. If you feel that this is not the case for you due to the budgeting or some other things, definitely I will send to you I'm going to prepare the great guide that you can use and try to implement those things on your own. So thanks a lot, and I really hope you you can make your own code infrastructure pretty great. If you need some help, feel free to reach out to us. Okay, so then the warm-up stage. When it comes to the warm-up stage, I will tell you the really great story. Back in the days, probably 4 or 5 years ago, when I joined Lemlist, we were the first who created the Lemworm, the first email outreach, email warm-up, email warm-up. Yes, so like I see a few questions in the chat. About the pricing, yes, the pricing starts from 5K, true, definitely. But the final product is pretty amazing in terms of like we dedicated, like we build the whole infrastructure directly for you, and this is scale. Of course, if it's out of your budget, it's definitely fine. They're like I'm totally okay with that. The thing is that in this case, we're just gonna share with you a really great guide. So just keep following us on our blog and so on and so forth. So I'm gonna send you really great guides that you can try to use as the base for building your own coding infrastructure on your own. So coming back to the question of, okay, warm-up stage. Basically, back in the days, the whole warm-up thing was working crazy. Actually, we were first who created the warm-up feature back in the days. It was called Lemwarm, and it was actually helping. During the first few days, people could recover their deliverability. Uh, people could recover their deliverability and fix their spam problems in just a matter of a few days. And to be frankly honest, people were sending to each other not AI written emails, but just parts of the fairy tales or something like this. And that, from the technical point of view, that was not the perfect product, but it was solving the problem. It was actually warming up the mailboxes. After that, even more competitors came to the market, and the whole solution became even better, even more comprehensive. But during the time, ESP providers such as Google and Microsoft understood that there is something wrong with the warm-up functionality. That is why, in the majority of cases, the whole effectiveness of the warm-up as the process, as a tool, as the whole direction, it's way less effective. It's becoming way less effective. So why it is happening like this? Basically because of two things. The first one, what is the quality of the warm-up tool that the warm-up tools are using to warm up your email outreach mailboxes? I'm going to talk about this a little bit more. But the second one, what is the method of sending cold emails to each other in order to warm up the mailboxes? So about the method, I saw that a lot of people were like a lot of warm-up solutions on the market are actually using SMTP connection and not API Google connection to send warm-up emails to each other. And this is the worst thing that can happen to the warm-up solution. In this case, it might not solve the problem, but create even more problems. I'm not going to talk at that deeper here even more, but just believe me, if you want to reach out to me in the DMs, and I will explain you more about why it is working like this. But the second one, the warm-up pool. Basically, the majority of companies are using their own the majority of the outreach tools and the majority of the warm-up solutions use their own customer base as the warm-up tool. That means, for example, if you're using tool XYZ, right? So the email outreach tool, and it provides you with the email warm-up solution. In 99% of cases, your emails, your warm-up emails will be sent to other users of such a product, of such an email outreach tool. And I have two questions here. The first one, who are usually using the email outreach tools? Are they spammers or not? So usually they are spammers. The second question, what type of the ESP provider they're usually using? Google, Microsoft, or any other? The answer is Google. So at the end of the day, the majority of the warm-up solutions provide you the warm-up pool where you are sending cold emails, warm-up emails to other usually spammers. The rotation of the mailboxes are based on the amount of new clients that they get, and it's also spammers. Not all of the spammers, of course, but parts of them are actually spammers. And the majority of all of those people and those mailboxes are on Google. And I have a question. What if you want to warm it up on Microsoft? Or what if you actually want to warm it up and actually fix the problems? Because for Google, if you are getting some engagement, but from spammers, that just doesn't mean your email, that your email reputation is going higher. The solution here, it is having a dedicated infrastructure for sending and warming up your cold emails. Here, in the worst case scenario, you don't have spammers because in the dedicated warm-up pool, you don't have users of this product. What you have is the email infrastructure that this product has created. The second one, in the worst case scenario, you're not going to have spammers. You are going to have just biased email accounts. And their interaction with, and their market as important, or their warm-up engagement from that pool, as the worst case, in even the most pessimistic case, is not just going to solve the problem, but never make it worse. By using the warm-up solutions that are not quite great, you might even make your deliverability worse, okay? So here, I'm not going to actually dive deeper into, I can, but I'm not going to do those things right now because we are really limited with the time. So how, like here, this is the warm-up metrics that you should follow. In the hard cases, and there is a proper framework that we usually implement for our clients, and in one of the cases, not always, in one of the cases, you might be using Folderly for solving the deliverability problems. And thirdly, it is one of those solutions that is actually provided with dedicated infrastructure to warm up your email deliverability. And that is the one that is actually has proofs that it's actually working. Okay, the important things about your warm-up tool that you should be using, those 6 things: unlimited inboxes, extremely important. Outreach plus warm-up within one product, it's better for using it with specific conditions. API, not SMTP connection, human simulation, custom link warm-up, custom template warm-up. I can, like, here are the main strategies. The main strategies are, there are actually 2. The first one, how to use the warm-up to just keep up engagement and activity rate from your new mailboxes. And the second one is how to recover your deliverability. So with this one, it's about how to keep it active, but this one, it is how to actually fix it. So we're not going to really dive deeper into those things, but just believe me, you have to do those things warm up in a really smart way. Because not in a smart way, it's not even not solving the problem, but sometimes making things even worse. The next step is monitoring. Okay, we do have the mailboxes. We know the amount of emails that we want to send. We created domains, bought mailboxes, set up everything correctly, all good, right? So just feels like everything's super great. We warm up the things. Now we have to set up the proper monitoring to understand what is going with our deliverability right now. So when it comes to the deliverability monitoring, we actually need to do several things. The first one, daily checkups with the tool called Pulse. I'm going to share it with you just a bit later. The second one, making the deliverability audit, bi-weekly deliverability audits, and understand and take a look at the reporting of those audits from every single ESP provider separately. So we actually need to understand what is our deliverability on Outlook, on Microsoft, on Gmail paid, and Microsoft paid. Why it is important for us? Because our chain of thoughts and chain of actions after those biweekly reporting, biweekly audits is going to be different based on the our deliverability rates to different ESP providers. Okay, this is a biweekly tool, biweekly reporting. I'm going to send you the tool if you need. I'm going to add in the deck the link to the tool to make biweekly audits. Then we have the daily alerts. That is by using the tool called Pulse. So in this case, whenever people we're using Pulse to send a bunch of cold warm-up emails every single day, and it checks whether it went to spam or not. And if it went to spam, it was sending us alerts on a daily basis. If everything is great with our deliverability, then no questions. We are not going to get any alerts. But if there are some alerts, we're gonna if there are some problems with our deliverability, we are going to get alerts. Why it is important for us? Now we cannot understand what's going on with our deliverability if we don't use this framework, if we don't use this set of tools. Okay, and it's always way easier to solve the problems with deliverability whenever we got them, and not when those problems are already, extremely hard to solve. So the recommendations, the main recommendations for sending cold emails are the next. Mailbox rotation. I'm going to talk about this just a bit later. Never send really spammy versus spammy email templates. Never HTML inside cold emails. No caps and no color. No attachments. No links in the first email. No UTM-mark links. Check the blacklisted limits. Okay, just simple, basic recommendation. When it comes to the tool set, you have different options. You can also add to this list tools like Smart Lead. I just didn't add it, but you can also add the tool called Smart Lead to this list and tool called Lemlist to this list. In the majority of other cases, I would not really recommend using some tools for cold emailing specifically. I mean, HubSpot is not great for cold email. It is amazing platform, but not great for specifically for cold email. That is why the next cases and features I am going to share with you right now will be shown with the tool that I am using for a lot of cases. Actually, it's going to be shown with the tool called reply.io. I see some questions about different tools. If you want, reach out to me directly. I will explain to you in details. Don't have time today, okay? So important things. First things first, for the Google sending, we have to use the Google API connection and not any other ways to connect Google accounts. The second one, unlimited mailboxes. The third one, CNAME for link tracking. Then unified inbox. It is important for us to keep track all the replies and leads that we're getting from different mailboxes. We have to get different separate reporting by each mailbox that we are using for cold emailing, and we have to use the provider matching for sending cold emails. Okay, API versus SMTP. Just quickly, you have actually different ways to connect Google accounts to your email outreach tool. It's either SMTP or API. When it comes to the SMTP connection, this is the point when Google does not control how the product is actually using this access. Why? Because you are given access directly to the product to send cold emails on your behalf. And there is an API. In the API connection, Google is a part of this connection. That is why, by default, Google provides you with a way better deliverability when you're sending cold emails from Google API connection and not SMTP/IMAP connection. But to be frankly honest, there are so many other evidences that proves that it's actually working like that. Basically, this is the real data from analyzing 50 million of cold emails that were sent through reply.io as a platform. But also back in the days, Google actually implemented the API, the security audits for everyone who is asking the API access for sending cold emails and mention mailboxes. That is why there are just so many different things that you have. There are different evidences that sending through the Google API connection way more important rather than and way better comparing to sending from SMTP and IMAP. Just choose the tools that provide you with this ability to send through the Gmail API. The second one, provider matching. Again, you remember we created Google, Microsoft, different cold email mailboxes. Now we need to send from Google to Google, from Microsoft to Microsoft. Okay, in this case, we actually need to use the tools that are actually giving us an ability to send the provider matching. So in the provider matching, by using the provider matching, by default, we are going to send from Google to Google and from Microsoft to Microsoft. Okay, then CNAME link. If we are adding any of the links to our cold emails and we want to track them, we always have to set up a dedicated CNAME for the link tracking. What that means? In order to track the amount of clicks that you got on every single link that you added, in every email outreach tool, what they do, they actually change the initial link that is sent through the link that you added, they just change it to see the amount of clicks, to show you the click rate. And they change it with their own domain. So you have to make your own CNAME link and change it in the settings of the email outreach tool if you want to track the click rates by sending cold emails. So I hope that it's not too hard to understand, but just believe me that you have to do those things. If you want, I will add you the links to the guides on how to do those things and why to do those things. But we are running out of time. So then always set up the least unsubscribe header in order to give even more trust. Act not as a spammer and show to Google, Microsoft, and others that you're not a spammer. Then never use the open tracking right now, no matter what, okay? Then there are so many reasons for that. Then always use the plain text or text only. So this is the mode when you can send with no HTML inside of your cold emails. It's not going to show you any of the results in terms of the link tracking, the amount of clicks or opens, but it is going to show you to provide you with the best deliverability. Okay, so yes, I see some questions. Yes, do you recommend custom tracking domain? Yes, custom tracking domain for the link tracking. For the open tracking, we just don't track it. Okay, just don't do that. Then campaign setup. Here is just a quick overview of how do I set up campaigns. And then a few things about the email verification process. There are so many different tools that you can use for the email verification. So for example, if you're using tools like Snovio for finding cold email addresses, always use, and it provides you with the results, always use a second step to double verify the email addresses. And we always do this. What is the tool that we are using? It's ClearOut. You can use your own, okay? Actually, we have two steps of the email verification. The first one is ClearOut, and after ClearOut, we have valid emails, invalid emails, and catch-all. And catch-all emails, we double verify. So the second step of our verification is by using the tool called Scrappy to double check, double verify catch-all emails, okay? Still, again, don't have a lot of time to explain you why we're doing those things, but just believe me, this is for us the way to increase the amount of email addresses we have for each specific campaign we are running with the highest possible validation rate, okay? And then the next thing is the template randomization. There are actually two ways for you to change and make your emails that you're sending unique. Of course, you can use spin text, but this is not the actual thing that is actually working, and I don't have any proofs that it's actually extremely great in terms of working. But there is a second thing, it's the AI randomization of your emails. And after a lot of tests, actually, whenever you change not only the context of the email, but also the structure of the email, that is helping you to increase the deliverability rate way higher, okay? So the last thing is the monitoring and how to detect the spam, whether your emails are going to spam or not. Since the open tracking is not working anymore, we need to use indirect methods of the understanding of our deliverability. There are actually three things: pulse alerts. Remember, I showed you the daily checkups, the warm-up stats, and the reply rate dynamic. So here is the mirror of how what are the tools and what are the logos that we are using for those things. But the very first thing, of course, if you see that we didn't change literally anything, we use the same templates, we use the same target audience, but at the end of the day, we see that our reply rate is going down. That is the problem for us, okay? That means that something happened with our deliverability. So make sure that track your reply rate and make it as your main metric to understand the cold email deliverability. Bi-weekly, make the deliverability audits by using the tool called Inbox Insights. And then here's the chain of actions that you have to do based on different results that you can get out of bi-weekly audits. Just for example, if Outlook is spam and Google all good, use this mailbox only for sending to Google, okay? Use it for only provider matching. If Google is spam and Outlook is good, you have to warm it up, okay? If all is spam, just do proper rotation. Then the next thing is you can use the tools like Postmasters to see the percentage of people who actually manually marked your emails as spam. So actually marked it, boom, spam. The most important thing here is that we need to track this metric and mainly take a look at what is the dynamic of this metric. And if after a huge spike of the amount of people who marked our emails as spam, we see plateau, like the best case, 0% of people mark our emails as spam, that probably means that our emails are already going to spam. Because people can mark your emails as spam whenever they get it for in their inbox. If they already in the spam, it's already in the spam, so people cannot mark it as spam, okay? So in this case, take a look at the amount of spikes you have and what is going after this spike. What else? Yeah, so how to detect spam. This is the Pulse, also the tool that we are using for daily checkups of your deliverability. And again, here the setup that we are using, the email reputation around 80%. This is the usual case for us. And also the spam rate, we also check the spam rates using the warm-up solutions to see what's going on there and what is the average score. And the benchmarks to follow: 50% warm up, 50% real cold emails, no more than 20 to 30 cold emails per day from one mailbox, and the bounce rate maximum 2%. The mailbox rotation, here's the few rules for the mailbox rotation, and here's the link to the bandwidth. We have our own Google document that we are using to track the bandwidth of our mailboxes that we have, to understand what is the overall bandwidth that we have and what is the current situation with every single mailbox that we have and every single domain that we have. And there is a dedicated place that you can go to take a look at the SMTP with dedicated servers for cold emailing. There are so many little details there. And so that is why be a bit careful with this or reach out to me directly. Just if you enjoyed, please connect with me on LinkedIn. Again, here's my link to LinkedIn. Yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn. Share the recording and the deck with your team. So I am going to share the deck and the recording with you. And if you enjoyed it, it's going to be really great if you can share this deck and this recording with your colleagues or with your friends or on social media. That will help me a lot. Okay, and the last thing, subscribe to our newsletter. So I hope that you have access to the outboundreinvented.com blog. Just subscribe there and get our cool information there. So thanks a lot. And again, one more time, this is the link. If you want the dedicated help, we can help you. We can build the cold email infrastructure for you and help you not only with this, but also with the cold email outreach strategy, etc., etc. And if you need anything, just feel free to reach out this form. Here's the form. Feel free to reach out to me or reach out to me directly. It's better if you submit the form, actually. So thanks a lot and have an amazing day. Right now, I do see that there were a few questions that people asked. Give me just a second. Let me answer all of those questions. Please let me know in the chat right now whether you enjoyed, how was the webinar? Let me know in the chat, like from 0 to 10, okay? Okay, great. 10. Oh, thank you. 10, 10, love it. Oh, 10. Okay, 8. Oh, Manuel. 7. Okay, Brian. 8. Okay, awesome. So, guys, if you have any feedback, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be extremely happy to make things better. Of course, I was extremely limited with the time, so next time I will try to make better with them. So let's start with the questions. Why not to use Apollo.io? This is actually the worst tool to send cold emails, starting from the business model that you have in terms of the amount of mailboxes that you can add to your own to the Apollo to send cold emails. That's first. The second one, the absence of a lot of critical features for deliverability, such as proper custom domain for link tracking, plain text mode, unsubscribe link not in the body of the text, but in the header of the email, and so on and so forth. A lot of different cases. How to handle current Outlook situation? Current Outlook situation is not the easiest thing, but there are a few workarounds there. The first one, a proper Microsoft setup. And when I say Microsoft setup, I'm not only talking that you should buy some mailboxes and start sending emails. No, you have to do a proper way in terms of your warm-up process as well. So it is delicate question and delicate topic, but there is a workaround, and by using Microsoft only and doing the proper way there. The second one, use a dedicated IP addresses SMTP type of the mailboxes to send cold emails. And usually in this case, you're using the mailboxes to send like 5 mails per one mailbox, and just have too many mailboxes. Okay, so this is the way. It's just quickly. Then a few more questions. Okay, the question from Brian. So you are saying that just signing up for a platform like SendGrid for our email marketing system not enough for potential problematic? Oh, this is the worst case in terms of sending cold emails. Then the next question is, I use QuickMail and they have a feature that allows open tracking after first email, where you include a logo or other graphic versus hidden pixels. Still think out open tracking is that. I would not recommend you use any type of open tracking. Why? Because the first one, it is not accurate. But even if you think that you're okay with the absence of the accuracy in the open tracking, I would tell you that by default, any type of the HTML is going to make your email deliverability way worse. Okay? And if your deliverability is amazing, then you can use the open tracking. But Mike, just believe me, it's better not to open track. It's better to use some indirect ways for tracking your deliverability. In this case, it's going to be just a little bit way better. Don't you think that $5,000 might be expensive for pre-seed startups? Yes, it is possible that it is might be expensive, but this is the price of the service because we kind of make it really, really great in terms of the final product. Then the next question is, okay, Mike, how does click tracking work if it is not HTML? Basically, there is the technical difference between tracking the opens. So when you track opens, you actually add the little pixel that triggers when people open the email. It is not accurate, just believe me. There are so many different cases in which it's not accurate, but when it comes to the link tracking, they basically, all email outreach tools and email marketing tools, how do they track click rates? They actually change the link that you insert, and when people click, they know on their servers that it was clicked because they changed this link. It's not the HTML or nothing. It is just their own link. So if you're getting emails from email marketing emails or anything, and the senders were tracking the link tracking, the links, you will be able to see that by opening the show, the initial code of the email and see what was the link that people used if they send it. And in 95% of cases, it's going to be either like track.link.hubspot.com if they used HubSpot or something else. You see what I mean? The plain text email turns off the hyperlink, but it is, yes, in this case, you cannot track the click rates, but you can get the best deliverability. Okay, the next question is from Nancy. Are you saying now I'm risking HubSpot tracking reporting email opens being marked as spam? Yes, Nancy, I will tell you that HubSpot is the best way to send cold emails. Okay, then regarding domain names for the UK market, .co.uk used to be more common and standard domain name to use as compared to .uk or .com. Why is it listed in a red group of cheap domains? I don't know. That was the actual results of the analytics. I can send to you. You can take a look and tweak with those reportings. When it comes to really local domains, I'm not quite sure about those things. So I can share it with you, and then you can take a look at that data. And do you consider the open training for this email strategy? We do have the course, actually, that you can buy access to this course, and it touches actually all the fundamental parts of the cold email outreach. This is the one way. If you need this help, just reach out to me. I will send you the access to this course. Browse band, you. So if you need some help, yes, here is the so here is the link to this course. You can get access to this course and to all the recordings, plus to our Slack group and to a few calls with myself. And I see the question, it's going to be the last question. So which tool are you, so we are using to track the spam rates. And this is an important thing. what is the spam rate? Is it the amount of our emails that we sent and went to spam folder? Or is it the amount and the percentage of people who marked our emails as spam? So in first case, we are using a set of tools such as inbox and size pulse in case of and warm up tool that we are using. In second case, we use postmasters. This is the tool that shows us the percentage of the people who marked our emails as spam. Okay. So that is the list of tools. Again, I will send to you the link to the recording and the link to the PDF. If you still have questions, you can always feel free to reach out to me on my LinkedIn or okay. And that's going to be the last question. Do we hold cold email outreach when the mailbox is in warm-up state? It depends on the warm-up stage that you have right now. If it's the just the basic warm-up, then you can send cold emails, definitely true. But if it's in recovery, no, you cannot. That's a part of the rotation framework that we are using. Thanks a lot and have an amazing day, guys. Again, a few more things. I still see a lot of people, just actually more than half people since the beginning of the webinar are still here with me. Thanks a lot for that, even though we are 20 minutes late. So a few more things. First of all, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. The second one, if you need some help with the fundamental understanding and like with a really practical course that we have, here's the link to the course. Okay, really great one. People really liked it. And also, if you need help with building the cold email infrastructure for your own business, here's the link for the form. Please submit it. I will reach out to you today, tomorrow. That's basically it. Thanks a lot. During tomorrow, I will send you all the recordings and the links to all the links. No worries about those things. Thanks a lot and have an amazing day. Bye-bye. Thanks.